Hey there! In this video, we're going to learn how to solve a system of linear equations. In particular, we're going to look at homogeneous systems with constant coefficients. This is one of the most basic systems of differential equations that we can solve. They're only going to be first order differential equations, so your system might look something like this, where I have the first derivative of x with respect to t equal to a series of functions. There's no f of t function at the end, which is what makes this a homogeneous system. And so I can rewrite this very compactly as matrices, written as x prime equals a times x, where a is the coefficient matrix, where all the a's that are multiplying by our x terms go. And then we have a column matrix x where the x1 through xn goes, and x prime would be the derivative of that x. Okay, so to solve one of these, we're going to solve it very similar to how we solve just a single differential equation with constant coefficients. We proposed a solution. Back then it was y equals e to the mt or rt, something like that. And we would plug in that proposed solution along with its derivatives into the differential equation. Here, our proposed solution x is going to be an eigenvector v times e to the lambda t, where lambda is an eigenvalue of a. So this will give me a solution to this homogeneous system if I plug this in. So what I'm going to need to do is find the eigenvalues and eigenvectors of the matrix A to get started in solving this system. And then when I get all that, I can plug it into this to create a solution. And if you're wondering, well, why in the world does that work? Well, let's just take that system written in that compact form, x prime equals ax. And let's look at what happens when we plug in this proposed solution to this equation. So if I'm going to plug in x equals v e to the lambda t, I need its derivative, so I can plug that into the left side of the equation. So if I took the derivative of this, I'm really just taking the derivative of e to the lambda t, because v is a vector with constant coefficients in it, which is why this works. So x prime would be lambda times the vector v times e to the lambda t. Okay, so if I plug that derivative into the left side of the equation and plug in our original solution x to the right side of the equation, I get lambda v e to the lambda t equals av e to the lambda t. At this point, I've got an e to the lambda t on both sides of this equation. I could divide it out, and I get lambda v equals av. And what do you know? That is our definition of an eigenvalue and an eigenvector. So that's why this is going to work out nicely to have this as a proposed solution. All right, so our steps for using the eigenvalue method to solve a system of equations is first I'm going to propose that solution, x equals v e to the lambda t. Then I'm going to find the eigenvalues, which I'm going to do by taking the determinant of the matrix A minus lambda I. So I is our diagonal matrix. And really what we're getting here is we're taking the matrix A and we're subtracting lambda down the values of the main diagonal. And so I find that determinant and set it equal to 0, solve that for lambda, and I'll have my eigenvalues. Then I can take each one of those eigenvalues, plug it into the equation a minus lambda I times some vector v equals 0, and I can solve for the eigenvectors. So I do that with each eigenvalue to get all of the eigenvectors, and they need to be linearly independent eigenvectors in order for this all to work out as being distinct solutions. Once I've done that, I can then construct my solution. I have all my eigenvalues, all my eigenvectors. The linear combination of those proposed solutions will be the general solution to this homogeneous system. So I'd have my parameters C1 through Cn, each multiplying by my proposed solution. So C1 x1 would be C1 times V1 e to the lambda t. So I'm plugging all that into this and then adding them all up like that to get the general solution. So let's look at an example so we can see what this looks like. Okay, I have this system and I need to use the eigenvalue method to solve it. I have the equations dx dt equals 2x plus 2y. There's a typo on that one. Dx dt equals 6x plus, I believe that's supposed to be 3y. And then dx dt equals 3x plus z. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I want to identify my coefficient matrix A that all this is going to be built off of. Matrix A is super important to put this together correctly because this is how we're going to find our eigenvalues, which leads to the eigenvectors, which leads to the solution. Okay, so if I put this together in a matrix, and yeah, that was supposed to be 3y in the middle equation, not 3x. So I get the matrix A with rows 2, 2, 0, 6, 3, 0, 3, 0, 1. Okay, so the first column is all my x coefficients, the middle column is the y coefficients, and the third column is the z coefficients. Okay, so now I'm going to use this matrix to find my eigenvalues. So I'm going to subtract lambda down the main diagonal. So the 2, 3, 1 diagonal there. Each one of those is going to have a minus lambda on it. And then I'm going to take the determinant of this. So I'm using bars instead of brackets to indicate that I'm taking the determinant. Since this is a 3 by 3 matrix, I'm going to use the trick where I repeat the first two columns of the matrix to the right. And that way I can build my 3 diagonals going in both directions. This one has a nice number of zeros in it, so the determinant's not going to be too bad. The main diagonal does give me most of my determinant. So I'm going to have 2 minus lambda times 3 minus lambda times 1 minus lambda for that first diagonal. The other two diagonals going down to the right are 0. And then I'm going to subtract the diagonals going up to the right. So if I look, the first two diagonals have zeros in them. The last one does not though. So I end up with a 12 times 1 minus lambda there. Okay, so I'm going to skip over some of the cleaning up of this. There's a lot of algebra there, but I am going to have to multiply this all out and then hopefully factor it. Because I have those 3 values or those 3 binomials multiplying, I'm going to get a 3rd degree polynomial out of this. All right, so after you do a bunch of simplifying, you should end up with negative lambda cubed plus 6 lambda squared plus lambda minus 6. Okay, and I'm setting this equal to 0 to give me an equation to solve. This is my characteristic equation. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this whole thing by -1 just so I have a leading term that's positive. So it just flips all of the signs and I get lambda cubed minus lambda 6 lambda squared minus lambda plus 6. Now, you may remember back from your days of intermediate algebra where one of the ways you can factor when you have 4 terms is factoring by grouping. And it turns out that that works here. So that's what I'm going to do. With factoring by grouping, you take the first 2 terms and you factor out the greatest common factor, which here would be lambda squared. And then I do the same thing with the second 2 terms in the hopes that I end up with a common binomial after I've factored those. So if I factor the lambda squared out, I get lambda squared times lambda minus 6. And then I can factor a -1 out of the second 2 terms to get another lambda minus 6. I've now reduced this down to 2 terms that each have a lambda minus 6 in it, so I can factor it again to get lambda minus 6 times lambda squared minus 1. Okay, so I just pulled those out of the lambda minus 6 out of both terms. Now lambda squared minus 1 is the difference of 2 squares, so I can factor one more time to get lambda minus 6 times lambda minus 1 times lambda plus 1 equals 0. And now I can identify my 3 eigenvalues. So I get 6, 1, and -1. I'm going to have to plug each one of these into the equation a minus lambda I times v equals 0 to get my eigenvectors. So let's start with the first one. Lambda 1 is going to equal 6. And so I'm plugging that in to my matrix where the lambdas were in the main diagonal. So the only thing that changes is the main diagonal. I take each one of those and subtract. Now, looking at this, I can turn this whole thing into a system of equations. Usually I just try and pick out the ones that help me get to an answer. There should be, or usually is, one that is a multiple of another. Here, it's not terribly obvious that that's the case, but the first 2, since they are pretty similar, they make me think that they are going to be multiples of each other. I have -4, 2, 0 in the first row and 6, -3, 0 in the second row. If you aren't sure, you really want to convince yourself, you can do some row operations to this. A more compact form of this is an augmented matrix where I have my 3 by 3 matrix on the left and then just the zeros for my equation to the right of that bar inside. And I could do some row operations. So for instance, I could multiply row 1 by -1/2. And that's going to reduce those down. And then I can multiply the second row by 1/3. And that gives me the same row twice, 2, -1, 0, for row 1 and 2. And so now it's really clear that they are redundant, that they are just one was just a multiple of another. So I'm only going to pull one equation from those two, and that's going to give me, or actually I'll go back to the original. So -4x plus 2y equals 0. So if you didn't feel the need to do the row operation, you can skip that. But if it makes you feel better to know that those were, you can do that, that extra step. So I have the equation -4x plus 2y equals 0. And I'm going to go ahead and solve that for y in terms of x. So if I add the 4x, or actually let me write the second equation first before I do that. The second equation, I'm going to pull that from row 3. If I take row 3 times my vector v, I get 3x minus 5z equals 0. So both of these I'm going to solve in terms of x. And that way I just have to choose the one variable that I choose a value for, and it'll give me the entire vector. So if I solve the first one, add 4x to both sides, and then divide by 2, I get y equals 2x. And from the second one, if I subtract the 3x over and then divide by -5, I get z equals 3/5 x. So now I just pick a value for x, and it will give me all the elements of my vector. Because I have that 3/5 multiplying by x, I'm going to go ahead and choose x to be 5, just so that I don't end up with any unnecessary fractions in my eigenvector. So I'll let x equals 5, which means that I get a matrix where x is 5. 2 times 5 will give me y, so that'll be 10. And then 3/5 times 5 gives me 3 for my z. And there's my first eigenvector. Okay, so let's repeat this for the other two eigenvalues, 1 and -1. So lambda 2 equals 1. I'm going to subtract that 1 down from all the values in the main diagonal to get my system of equations. So I end up with rows 1, 2, 0, 6, 2, 0, and 3, 0, 0. Now that first one jumps out at me. I just have a 3 there and nothing else in that row. So I'm going to pull that out right away. 3x equals 0, which means x is going to equal 0. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab the first one just because the numbers are smaller. X plus 2y equals 0. Solving that for y, I get y equals -1/2 x. So this is enough without even going to the middle row to try and deal with that one. I have enough to tell me what my x and y, how I can define those. And actually, since x was 0, y is also going to be 0, since it's just -1/2 times x. So far, x and y are 0. And if I look at my matrix, the third column, my z column, is all zeros. So that's a free variable. And so in order to get a non-trivial solution where all my values are 0, I'm going to choose z to be the smallest number I can. That's positive. I'm going to choose z to be 1, and I get an eigenvector 0, 0, 1 from that. Okay, last one. Let's plug in -1. Again, I'm subtracting -1 from the main diagonal, so I get 3, 2, 0, 6, 4, 0, 3, 0, 2 for my 3 rows of the matrix. From the first row, I get 3x plus 2y equals 0. And from the third row, I get 3x plus 2z equals 0. And the middle row is just taking the first row and multiplying it by 2. I'm not even going to worry about that one. This is enough for me to get my eigenvector. So each one of these, I'm going to solve it exactly the same way. Subtract 3x to the left side and divide by 2. So both y and z are going to be equal to -3/2 times x. And so I'm going to choose a value for x. I'll choose it to be 2 since it's multiplying by that fraction 3/2, and that'll get rid of the denominator. And so I'm going to let x equal 2, and I get 2 for the x, and then -3 for y and z. And there is my third vector. And all of these should be linearly independent. You can check it if you're really concerned. But you should have, based on the way we chose our x and y values, we should be good. Okay. Last step is to construct our general solution from all of the eigenvalues and eigenvectors that we have found. Right? So remember that our solution is a linear combination of all the x's, and the x's are equal to v times e to the lambda t. So for each eigenvalue, I'm going to take the eigenvector that's associated with it and multiply it by e to the lambda t. So for the first one, I've got C1 times my vector 1, 5, 10, 3, times e to the 6t, since that's the lambda for that eigenvector. And then go to the second one, plus C2 times V2 times e to the 1t. And for the last one, plus C3 times V3 times e to the negative t for that eigenvector. So this would be the matrix form of my solution. You can write this as three separate equations. It's kind of nice to write it as three separate equations if you're given initial conditions to solve for. You might find it easier to rewrite it as these three different equations. And all I'm doing is taking the C1 and the E and multiplying it by each row from these matrices. So x1 is C1 times 5 times e to the 6t plus C2 times 0 e to the t plus C3 times 2 e to the negative t. So I just took the x, the top value from each one of those to get my first solution, and so on, in the middle, and then the third. And then you can use initial conditions here if you're given any.